Yeah, so electronic sports, and they're mostly franchised by different teams, and you join these teams, get scouted by these teams, and you get to do these things. It's now since grown. It's been a thing since around maybe around the 80s and 90s when they had video game Olympics for the old arcade games from MIT. Screw those guys. And since then, it's since grown. More organizations have been taking notice. With bigger ones such as Coca-Cola. Shaq has actually has a small part in one of the new esports teams, and they create teams across different games that they're playing. And the winnings typically go across to corporate sponsorships, advertising, merchandising. The top one here, one of the most famous fighting game players. That's his best-selling book, which people still do use to this day. And actually, during sets, he can catch some people flipping pages for some notes, say, "How do I block this?" or something like that. The latest League of Legends tournament. Ratings are weird, but at least 2 million viewers watched it at the peak. If we're accounting for China, that's a total of 106 million people who watched it over the internet. And they've also now expanded to add more esports to things like TV. There's a more concentrated game for it, or TV show called E-League, in which case they display Street Fighter, Counter-Strike Go, and next year they're going to be doing a Rocket League circuit. And since then, esports have been able to take people to unlikely places. For example, a lot of people from different countries now come to the US to show off their skills, bless you. One that I'll get into was named Brawly Legs. He has arthrogryposis, means that he has a muscle condition that hasn't made his muscles grow enough. He's, however, the #1 online Chun-Li player. He plays with his mouth, he has his own controller, and he uses the chin and his mouth to press buttons, and he's winning pretty consistently. And he represents Able Gamers, which is a non-profit organization that creates custom controllers for gamers who have disabilities, so they can still join in and play. And it's since grown, and that's enough. So, at the end of the day, are we telling you to drop out to go play Shrek Super Slam for a living? Yes. Sure. well, no. Lately, in the last couple of years, more colleges and other organizations have been taking note of the growth of esports and the young people who play them. In fact, one of the youngest players, he just turned 18 this year. He has won $1 million for playing in one of the tournaments, the International of 2015. When he was 16 years old, he won $1 million per thing. So even you can kind of look at it as a prospective student thing, or they offer scholarships. They also have a new school spirit of making it an extracurricular, such as football and basketball, or Boffer sports we have here if you're into that, to bring more viewership and more of a new way to bring out school pride among people in the new generation of entertainment. And more to talk about this, Chris Lee.
So, as we said before, competitive gaming and esports is becoming pretty big nowadays. There's a lot of people that are interested, and most importantly, there's a lot of money in it. But as a college student, I'm taking classes, and I'm studying, I'm doing my homework, or at least I should be, if you talk to my professors. So I don't really have the time to play video games all day and become a professional. So there's an interesting opportunity in college where you can compete, and you can practice, and you can still participate in this esports, this competitive video game community. And colleges are taking note of this. They understand that there's a large community that wants to participate and wants to have a lot of school spirit, a lot of pride in their teams. So they're offering lots of different scholarship opportunities and signing students as varsity athletes for their competitive video game programs. For example, you can see the University of California, Irvine has their own computer lab where all of that purpose is to have students come and practice and participate as part of their teams. And in these, there's several different articles and journals and examples of colleges giving these sponsorship and scholarship opportunities to students. And the tournament scene, which is also supported by companies and colleges, allow for students to compete in large amount of tournament pricing. For example, in the 2017-2018 school year, there's almost $2 million on the line for college students only, just to compete against other colleges. So we're bringing in levels of college rivalry that is similar to like football or soccer or baseball into competitive video games where students can cheer on their teams, they can practice, they can compete, and it's a new area that allows for opportunities that maybe students who wouldn't be able to compete in things such as football or basketball can still be in this sort of competitive community with each other. A lot of companies, such as these up here, provide these sort of opportunities. One that I like to talk about specifically is Tesla. They are owned by Blizzard Entertainment, which is a company that creates games such as World of Warcraft and Overwatch. And they support the WPI TESPA chapter. We are a chapter here at WPI. And for example, they invite several different chapter leaders from all different colleges to a retreat. They call it TESPA retreat, and I was able to attend this year. It was in August, and I was able to meet college leaders from several different colleges, learn about what programs work well at their schools, what kind of resources they have, and also connect with other business leaders, such as Amazon, such as Blizzard, such as Intel, other computer and gaming companies in order to help bring resources into our school. Now, something that we would like to show you is the Heroes of the Storm Collegiate Tournament. This is the finals, the championship that occurred in last May of 2017, and it's a good example to show this sort of competitive sports-like experience that is bringing into this collegiate competitive video game scene.
Hello and welcome to the Heroes of the Dorm Heroic Forum.
This was the future of esports that we imagined a few years ago.
Oh my god, it's huge out there.
This crowd is insane. They were lined up around the block. This is a bloodbath.
It was a mind-blowing experience. Adrenaline rush.
Go, go, go!
The crowd's cheering. It was crazy.
What is their main objective? To destroy their opponent's core and take home the ultimate prize.
Payment for their college education. It changes your life. The money's nice, but I just don't want to lose.
Heroes of the Dorm is for students.
College competition.
Collegiate rivalries.
1, 2, 3, you get it!
Heroes of the Dorm is always a little bit of a wild card. Who will we discover next?
Anyone can play it. That's what's so amazing about it.
They might be going for a victory here. On the court. Court, on the court. The court is going down to the beach. Your champions. They are the Heroes of the Dorm.
So an interesting fact is the winners of this tournament was University of Texas at Arlington, and each player on that 5-person team won $75,000 just for that single tournament. So that's a good year and a half, depending on where you go. So something that we like to bring to the WPI community is events that are on campus that you can participate in so that you can sort of meet new people and compete and participate in this kind of community. So we have 4 on-campus tournaments each year, 1 per term, and we invite the whole student body. Any person from the community is invited to come and hang out and play games and participate with us. And we run it like a sporting event. So for example, we had one tournament here, you can see this in the pictures. We had all of our computers set up in front of the room, and in the back there was the game being streamed, so people could come and watch the game. And we also had people with microphones commentating on the game, talking about what was going on. So kind of like a sporting event where like you have, you watch a football game and you have people talking about, commentators about the football. We ran it the same way. And we had a lot of success. We had about 70 students show up to this, and we had 6 teams who entered this, and they competed, they had a fun time, and they won about $400 worth of prizing. We were really happy that TESPA was able to send all that stuff to us. And not only do we have events on campus, but we have events online that we compete with. We have several competitive game teams here at WPI. Across 6 different games, we have 40 students who are competing in. And we have a lot of success for our school, and we're really happy about that. For example, last year, we got top 8 in the nation in the game Overwatch, and our students were able to win $7,000 worth of prizing. And also last year, we were able to place top 32 in the nation in the game Heroes of the Storm, upsetting the number 3 seed, which is a team from the University of California, which was really exciting because we were really happy that we were able to do so well. And so this is something that's really passionate for all of us. We really are dedicated into creating our teams and forming this really strong competitive community, but we're also able to provide a laid-back event community that anyone can participate in, and with a very low level of entry. So I'd like to thank you, everyone, for giving us your attention, and thanks to IEEE for inviting us out. We'll be staying around a little bit after the show if you want to come and talk to us. And here's our contact information, email, social media. And we are having our next event, our B-Term event, in December. So if you're around and you're interested, you can totally come check us out. Thank you very much.
GDC the GDC is also having a Smash 4 tournament next week, Friday. So if alongside with Tesla's event coming on in December, we also are working to get more tournaments and events coming up soon. So look out for that.
Thank you very much.
All right then, we have one trivia question about this as well. Tell me, does anyone know the game in which holds the title of the top 4 prize, spots 1 through 4 of the biggest prize pool tournaments ever?
32.
That is correct. Would you like a shirt?
Yes.
What do you wear?
Medium?
I've got a small, I've got an extra large, and I have a gym bag. Extra large, you said?
Yes.
No. I can't. Anyway, so our next act, 2 gentlemen, Mike and Nick, will make a presentation which is so obscure, so secretive, that they would not even tell me what it is about. So here I have to only present Mike and Sarah as Nicholas DiMartino for a research presentation. Take it away, guys.
Thank you.
The one who made it. I don't know.
Can you all hear me if I stand here? Okay, I'm guessing that's a yes because I can hear myself.
Can you hear me?
No.
What? Okay.
Okay.
Good, very good.
So I'm Nick,
And I'm Mike.
and we're going to talk about some new research we've been working on exploring new applications for low-cost UAVs. So this talk is a proposal for some new MQPs. So if you're looking for an MQP soon, you should pay attention. If you're not looking for an MQP, you should still pay attention. We're indebted to our illustrious advisors, His Royal Highness John McNeil. Is he still here? Did he leave? I am so sad. Okay. We're also indebted to Professor Petra Hartman, Master of Side Projects, who inspired us to start doing this. So yeah.
So we'll start with a little bit of a background on what a UAV actually is. So for those of you that don't know, which I'm assuming is probably nobody, it's an unmanned area vehicle. And this is actually a fairly mature technology, but we're starting to see that there's changes happening with this technology. So we'll walk you through a little bit of the timeline here of how it's sort of evolved and how that's gotten us to where we are today. So really pre-World War I is when this technology, like the really primitive form of this technology sort of develops, and that's essentially what you see here. So it was used purely in a militaristic fashion, dropping bombs on enemies, right? Then all of a sudden this technology sort of progresses into the 1970s, and we start seeing it being used for things that are a little bit more advanced. So ISR, reconnaissance, surveillance, things that are still militaristic in nature, right? SAR imaging, all of the stuff that we sort of think of when we think of the U-2 spy plane. That brings us to where we are today, and that's where the big change happens. We've actually witnessed a huge sort of revolution happening in that, in the first 2 cases, this was a device, or I guess a system that was not ownable by individuals like you and me, right? It's just much too large, it was classified by the government, there was a lot of barriers basically to actually having access to some device like this. Now, it's built with